Germany defeating Hungary, um, 2-0 in the knockout stages. That's where we'd have to start off. It was an interesting game, in my opinion. Um, Honestly, might to be honest, one of the more boring games at this European Championship, but only because this European Championship has set a high bar in terms of games. Every game has been absolutely amazing, in my opinion. This was rather comfortable, in my opinion. Comfortable victory for Germany from front to bottom, from the minute one to the end. I thought Germany were really the protagonist in the team, and it has not. There has not, besides Germany's opening game against Hungary or against Scotland, every game has had, there's been, despite like the Spain Croatia game really going one way, Croatia had their opportunities. Like each game, it's always been like we've never thought that the other team doesn't have a chance. Everything has came down to the wire, but this game really did not come down to the wire. Definitely not as dominant as Germany were against Scotland, which is hard to replicate that kind of performance because that was just complete and utter domination, and that had a lot to do with how poor Scotland were. They were able to turn around today. We'll discuss that a little bit later on today's show. But yeah, I thought it was a professional victory, professional manner how Germany got it done. I thought overall they were set up well throughout the game. You saw Musiala, how tight he is, how brilliant of a player he is. He's a fantastic, fantastic footballer. Scored the opening goal. Gundogan finished getting the assist on that and also scoring that second goal. His name being really on the headlines. He never really gets his name is never really on the headlines on the front page of the newspaper, but after having one assist and a goal, I think he'll really get the praise and adulation he deserves. There was a little bit of a question mark on whether or not he should start in this tournament, but he's been absolutely brilliant. He's a brilliant player. He's been a brilliant player for Manchester City during their run of running Premier Leagues, and he has replicated that amazing form. Well, he's brought that to the German national team right now. Obviously, I know he played for Barcelona like this past season. I'm just saying, with Barcelona and Manchester City, he's been a really good player, and he has brought that form into Germany. But going back to Jamal Musiala, what a brilliant player. In terms of just his ability to control the ball in tight spaces, his touch, the way he can manipulate the ball to do things, it's just unbelievable. How he can play in tight spaces. There's not many players with that. There's actually a very few players with that kind of ability. He's absolutely world class, and he's in Germany are very lucky to have him. We know the situation that he could be a German player, or he could be an English player. Florian Wirtz also, with the quality he has, I thought he was very good in this game as well. I think this German national team is very impressive in the fact that I think Andrik, the Leverkusen player, is the missing piece because he gives you that nastiness in midfield, and he allows Kroos to do the finesse work in terms of being the finesse midfielder, and he'll go in and he'll do all the dirty work. He'll cover up spaces that Kroos can't cover because of the lack of pace. He's physical. He provides a nastiness to the midfield. He's a great complement, and I think the rise of him into this German national team was exactly what they needed, and is part of the reason why they're able to take the next level right now. In my opinion, he's an important part to this German national team. Now, he already got a yellow card in that first game. That's part of that. That's part of the issues. Not issues, but that's what you get when you have a player with his kind of profile. You do have that nasty element to him. Not dirty necessarily, but physical and aggressive, and not being afraid to stop counters. And he ended up getting that yellow card in the opening game, which means he's another yellow card away from being suspended before the quarterfinals. So that's something they're gonna have to manage. I definitely don't think he's gonna play much in that third group stage game. But yeah, I thought Germany played really well. The thing is, they're very open, And Kimmich and Mittelstadt, they love pushing up the field. They're both attacking fullbacks in this system with that Julian Nagelsmann plays, and they also play a very high line. And the center back partnership Rudiger and Ta was not tested yesterday. There was a few times in transition that Varga and Zabosla and Salai and this Hungarian national team was able to test them just a little bit in transition. And I thought Ta and Rudiger were absolutely phenomenal. I thought they both were very, very good. Didn't give up much space, didn't get beaten behind. They showed their pace, their recovery, their ability to make last-ditch tackles in pressurized situations. And I talked about them not being tested in that Scotland game and how I want to see them against a team that puts up more of a fight to see, how the center-back partnership is. I was impressed with those two. I really was. So in terms of that, good performance. But yeah, Germany, they just need to be a little bit more aware that, in transition, you're gonna have Mittelstadt and Kimmich attack up the field. In transition, it's gonna be very, very important because, Toni Kroos, he's not gonna cover much space as a midfielder. He's not gonna do, he's not really gonna stop attacks, especially quick attacks. That's not his game. So Andrik, Ta, and Rudiger, they could be isolated, which could be very, very deadly. And, that's something they really need to shore up, because they can't be open against. Now, maybe there's a tactical adjustment Nagelsmann will make whenever they do go up against the likes of a France or a Spain or an Italy or so, where they have a system where they have one attacking fullback and they make sure they have three back at this always. Maybe there's some sort of tactical flexibility that Julian Nagelsmann can show, because I think if they play now, you could play this open against Scotland and Hungary and get away with it, because there's not much quality in those two teams to really make you pay. But going up against the France and stuff, I think there has to be some sort of tactical flexibility, because you cannot play with that midfield, with how open they are in midfield. They're not open in midfield, but they Toni Kroos is not going to provide you much cover, and if you're not getting cover from Toni Kroos, and you can have both of your fullbacks pushed up high in the field, there's going to be a lot of space to take advantage of. So I definitely think against the better teams, they do need to adjust in that manner. I think Kai Havertz, I don't think he's been really that good so far at the European Championship. In my opinion, I think the opening game, he had some moments. He had the assist for that second goal, even though I thought he really could have done better by being able to get a strike off himself and not cutting it back. But that's not to here nor there. It was a decent performance. The second game, he had a good opportunity where he was able to outfight Willy Orban, but it was saved. But apart from that, there was not, a few times the ball got to his feet and the touch was just off. It was a little bit we saw his nonchalant character, and I don't know in the long term, is he really that answer for Germany at that 9? You see how Füllkrug was able to play whenever he came in that first game against Scotland. I thought this game is also pretty decent too. I don't know. I think Havertz, there's you get really good things with him, and you get some not so great things with him, and you kind of have to live with both. But I think, again, consistency is going to be important. But just based on performances, I'm talking a little bit about the negatives, but just based on performances, Germany have been the most impressive team at this European Championship so far. The way that they started, they are deadly, and they should be on everybody's radar in terms of potential candidates to win it all at this point. With the way that they performed these first two games, it shows all we needed to see is this German national team back, and they've proven they're back. And now they're doing this at a home European Championship. They get to, they're playing the rest of the tournament at home as well. I think they're a deadly, deadly team, and I think it's bad news for the likes of France, Spain, England, and all these Portugal, all these contenders, because Germany are a team not to be reckoned with. They got young talent. They got experience. They got the perfect balance of young talent and experience, with the young talent of Havertz, Musiala, Wirtz, and then you have the experience of Rudiger, Neuer, Toni Kroos, Gundogan, a guy like Emre Can off the bench, Thomas Muller off the bench. It's a really, really good and talented squad. And yeah, now it's going to be tricky for Julian Nagelsmann in terms of resting. Now there's the age-old dilemma. Do you rest some of your players so that they'll be fit and firing for the opening game of the knockout stages? Or do you go like, do you want to keep up the rhythm alive with how they're been playing right now? 2 wins out of 2. You don't want to break the rhythm that they're going into, and you keep the main 11 in there. It's the age-old dilemma. For me, I think you got to do a little bit of mix and match, because you don't want to break the rhythm and flow that you've created so far. But at the same time, you do got a player like Andrik who's on a yellow. You want to protect some of the players that are on a yellow. It'll be really bad if they miss the first knockout stage game, because they're playing in a game that truly doesn't matter that much in the fact that they didn't already qualify. Now, I think it's a little bit important that the fact that Switzerland actually dropped points to Scotland. So Germany do have that added value of only needing a point in that final game to win the group. So it does make it easier for Germany to say, we can rest a few players, we go for we just need a draw, we get that draw, we still win the group. Yeah, I could see that being a possibility as well. But yeah, it's something that Julian Nagelsmann is going to have to be clever with entering that final group stage game against Switzerland.